Today, I have the joy and honor of welcoming Meg Nocero. Did I pronounce, Meg, did I pronounce your surname?
It was pretty close.
Then you can correct me. Um, Meg Nocero,
Nocero, but you're good.
Nocero
Yes.
to the Entre. Meg is a former federal attorney who transformed her life after the loss of her mother, embarking on a journey from grief to awakening. She is now an award winning author, motivational speaker, empowerment coach, and founder of the nonprofit S.H.I.N.E Networking Inc., dedicated to supporting education and young changemakers. Her acclaimed memoir, Butterfly Awakens, together with her inspirational work like The Magical Guide to Bliss, have touched countless lives, offering guidance on resilience, joy, and purposeful living. At the HSA, our community is united by the search for meaning, happiness, and well being in all dimensions of life. And Meg's voice, embodies exactly what we celebrate: authenticity, courage, and the power of living from the heart. Thank you very much, Meg, for being here. Thank you for being in the Entre.
I am so honored to be here with you.
Thank you, Meg. Meg, you made the bold decision to step away from a secure legal career into a life guided by passion and purpose. What inner voice or experience gave you the clarity to take that leap? And how did you trust it?
So I like to say that I didn't really leave the law. It's always with me. It never leaves me. Being trained for so many years, it's very difficult to not see things unfold in a certain way, looking for certain evidentiary standards. But I feel the better answer is I answered a calling. And the calling came after my mother died. And she said to me before she died, overwhelming stress will kill you, and you don't want to die with regrets. And it shook my world because, first of all, my mother was my mentor, my everything. I went to her with everything. And she was a very much a foundational person for me in my life, where she gave me the guidance that I needed, that I thought I needed, I couldn't live without. So when she departed this beautiful world onto the next, it was a huge wake up call for me. Really, it was the moment when she left. Before she left, I was sitting at her bedside, and a lighthouse came into my mind's eye. I was praying for her, please don't leave me. It was more the child and the parent. And I saw this burst of white behind the lighthouse, and I felt her say to me, let me go. And at that point, I wasn't sure what was next. I just knew I was going to have to live a very different existence without her here. So the whole from a legal career to following passion and purpose didn't happen overnight, because I had my mandatory nervous breakdown after my mother died, if I'm being honest. And that's where transformation begins, when we're broken down to our very core and don't really have um, the ability to perhaps see the light in the darkness, at the same time opening ourselves up to those who could guide us toward it in ways that we had not known before. So, yeah, there's a lot of different wonderful events that were synchronistically, I don't even know the word, but they involved in such a way that where I am today, I could never even imagine all those years ago, because she passed away in 2011. So, yeah, and the leap of faith that everyone speaks about, you know, that everyone cavalierly when they're on the other side of the leap and they didn't like their parachute didn't explode or something crazy like that. You know, it's not easy. And I know we were mentioning this before. It's
Yes,
kind of terrifying actually, right? It's that
yes,
courageous, you know, part of our, you know, that, you know, coraje, the heart that says, I won't die with the music in me, literally, that you reach out to something else and it's a trust the process, really, you know, where I don't really know what's ahead of me, especially when there was such a safety behind me, the safety of a career for 20 years. I mean, friends who were my everyday experience that is so important. But now, you know, you open your world up to different friends and different people that I would never have met had I stayed where I was.
yeah. In Butterfly Awakens, you speak of turning grief into growth.
Mm,
How did loss become catalyzed?
mm.
Ah, my English.
It's beautiful. And that's a great word too,
For
cat.
awakening, and what did you discover about yourself in that process?
That's a great question. I think there's a sacredness in pain, and especially grief. And it's so interesting because people are either on two sides of the fence, right? You
Yes.
either eschew it and like, okay, grieve for a second and then move on, or you realize that it's a process that you have to go through and it just changes over time. And grief is always introduced into our lives, certainly you know, moving on from a job and missing your friends and to having a terrible diagnosis in your life or someone you love, or you know, expecting something to happen in your life and it not coming to fulfillment and loss. And for me, you know, the reality of grief, that cutoff from the loss of my mother, I had to come to the terms and the belief that love never ends. It just evolves into something else. And I think that's grief. Grief doesn't end because I miss her even this morning, like in tears. I woke up and missed her. You just,
Yes.
and sometimes you want to tell them, these people that were so important to you, about what you're doing. It just evolves into something different. Like I still talk to her, and that, you know, Magical Guide to Bliss was a conversation with my mother. Every download, every insight was something she would have taught me that I kind of put together into a guide for myself. It's an everyday guide that I can open up to and hear the wisdom that I learned through her and through the great works that we were talking about, great quotes that inspire us. So grief became my greatest teacher. I wouldn't be where I am today if I hadn't surrendered in a way to it, accepted it. And for me, because I didn't accept it and I really fought against it, my whole nervous system was shot. I literally turned into a anxiety ridden mess. My tinnitus, I acquired somatic tinnitus, ringing in your head where it's maddening if you've ever had it. And I
Yes.
had to get help because I couldn't do it alone. And I feel that that is also something that I'm very independent. I like to say, I got this, I don't need you, you know, I can handle this. But I really had to turn to the healers and the helpers and to people who could show me a different path to rebuild from a place of darkness to somehow, you know, see the light within me and not giving up.
Yes. And you're right that if we don't go there, if we don't grieve, if we don't touch the bottom, it's very hard to get out, to see, to experience grief, give you at the end, just turn your life around. And like you were, a federal attorney, and you were having a career and everything, and all of the sudden he puts you in your right path, the one that you really, really wanted to be. That maybe without that grief, we are not able to see that.
You know, it's interesting too that you say that, and I want to add this because I think it's really important. Those people who push it down and don't face your feelings, your emotions,
Yes,
they get
yes,
stuck in your body.
Yes,
You learn
yes,
the hard way.
yes,
Unfortunately, fortunately, we all have our own path to walk. I
yeah.
am very stubborn, but also at the time, I thought it was a good thing. And people were saying, "Wow, you're handling this so well," until I did it, until I did not handle it well at all, to the point where I would come home from work having to put a face on for others and then just crying in the closet and I
Yeah,
had little babies. I had a 2-year old and a 8-year old at the time. So I had to be there for them too. And it just ultimately, like I said, I had the nervous breakdown. Maybe that one that I didn't deserve, but maybe I needed a little bigger, but I definitely, and I say that tongue in cheek. I don't jest about that, because when you're at that point of, you know, oh my God, am I going to even make it through this? Am I going to survive
exactly.
this? I've been there, and it's not a joking matter. It's serious.
No, it is very serious.
And I always say you have to reach out to people who can help you at that point, because sometimes that's when you can't do it yourself.
Exactly, exactly. And we try to be strong,
Yeah.
and to put, like you say, a good face,
Good face.
but at one point it will
You'll
find
get
us.
you. Yeah.
Yeah, it will get us, and we will have to deal with it. Yeah, I understand you, and I have something of my own also that put my life upside down, and it was so painful, right? And I said to myself, if I don't go there to the darkness, I will never see the light again.
Yeah.
And I went there. And in the beginning, I had to be strong like you were, because you had two daughters. I have mines, and I had to shower and wait for them, have breakfast with them, send them to school, and then I will go to the cemetery, and cry, 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 and then come back and be good again. But after 2 years of doing that, I had the worst, the worst. It was a nightmare, the depression that I had. And then thanks God I started to go up, up, up. It
And,
was,
and to your point, it's a part of our humanity.
yes, of course you
Experience
have
these
to.
things. You don't get out of life without having, if you love as much as we loved.
Yeah,
I know
yeah,
we were speaking about it, how much you loved this
yes,
person, then you can't just walk into the next chapter without honoring that in such a way
yeah,
that it feels okay in your body. And I was taught long ago, for emotions to actually, be processed, they have to move through you. So tears are good, anger is good,
it's
all of
good.
them are
Yeah,
good.
yeah, yes, anger. And, I think I never said why me, because Daniela taught me
Yeah.
a lot. She was one of my great, great teachers, and she never say why me. Then I was like, why not me?
Wow.
Right?
Yeah.
What special do I have that I cannot have this experience? And but it was unbelievable hard, and I had to touch the bottom in order to go up again.
Isn't
Uh,
that the way it always is?
yes, it is like that. Yeah. Yes,
Oh,
it is.
and it is. And it's different. Your experience is your daughter, mine's my mother. The natural occurrences of these things, it's hard to negotiate with whatever higher power there is. I am certain and assured that they stay with us in a different capacity.
Oh, yes,
I know
yes.
it. That's where the butterfly symbolism came up. Is we believe that after someone passes on, they return as a butterfly, and we look for the
Actually,
butterflies. So whenever I see a butterfly, I'm like, oh,
you're your mom. Yeah, I do the same with my daughter. When I see a butterfly, it's like, oh, Daniela, it's here.
butterfly.
Yeah.
And the
I
beautiful thing
associate
about
that.
how we see each other as butterflies, there's
Yes,
always that wonderful, and you were talking those catalysts of transformation when we're ready to go in to the cocoon stage, the stage where
yes,
all the magic happens, quote unquote, the darkness,
yes.
and
But inside the cocoon is suffering,
is
and
suffering and
then
pain and evolving and expanding and
yes,
contracting and all of these things. And I experience a lot of other people's pain when they share with me, when they read my book and they see themselves in there. I don't believe our stories are separated apart, like we say with HSA, the whole being, the
yeah,
interconnectedness of us all, and how
yeah.
our energies intermingle on so many um bases. I promised myself that I would write this, oh, I would live out my story in such a way that I would help somebody who was where I was.
Yeah, exactly. That's what your book is,
Yes,
helping
yes.
helping others that are going through the same thing.
As will yours be.
Yeah, I
I
hope
put it
so.
out there.
I hope so one day.
Put it out there.
And Meg, transformation require tools. What daily practices or rituals help you rebuild your life and spirit during your transition?
So because I am moving a mile a minute all the time, for me to have an intentional practice in the morning when I wake up is very important to somehow center myself. And also because I had tinnitus, one of the best
Um,
modalities to calm the nerves is actual physical exercise. And
yes.
one of the exercises I used to do was I used to ride, I still do, a stationary bike for 30 minutes in the morning. I would pick something to read as I was, so I fill my mind with something uplifting and I would write. And a lot of the insights from Magical Guide to Bliss came from that whole, because I had to actually move to calm myself to the place where I could actually write. It's just strange. I know people might think, what? Like you wrote when and it's true. I have to move to calm myself. So for me, meditation, a contemplative practice would be a movement, a walking,
Yeah,
so I could
yeah.
journal. It's the way you calm your brain. It's the way that, it's interesting. We all have our own patterns and practice of life. And I have right now in my fifth decade, 55, I have all those years of all bad habits and really good ones, kind of playing around and trying to find their home. And those are the tools that have actually helped me um, rise to a different place. Also, community is huge. I have some incredible friends that have held me through the most difficult times. And if I ever, in the transition or transformation, whatever you want to call it, felt like I needed to someone just to listen to me and hear me, I knew where I could go. I knew where I could call. And then, of course, the different healing modalities. I did acupuncture. Acupuncture is very interesting for someone like me because you're forced to lay there and listen to
Yeah, yeah, of course.
energy. And the mind's monkey man. It keeps going.
Yeah,
And you
yeah.
can't go anywhere because you got needles popping out all over.
Even you cannot move because it hurts.
Yeah, and it hurts. And
You
then you have
know?
those the
Yeah,
ones that are on those points and bodies that are like
yeah,
literally your nerve
yeah.
is hit if you move.
Hurt. Yeah.
It's forcible, but acupuncture was very, very impactful for me. I loved it. I loved it. And I still do. I do appreciate that healing modality. I just, it's really amazing. Music is really something as well. Music. And I said this to someone the other day because like I told you, I'm creating a musical right now. But I've
Yeah.
always liked the notion that my life, there is a soundtrack to it. So even when I was and at the end of Butterfly Awakens, I walked the Camino de Santiago. So of
Ah,
course
okay.
I'm gonna have a soundtrack to play, like the Rocky soundtrack
Yeah.
that'll get me to
Yeah.
the end because otherwise, and it's really interesting because at the outset, I was listening to a friend of mine sent me a little iPod music mix and it was Gypsy Kings. And in Spain, Gypsy Kings. Okay, that makes sense, all the great, Bambaleo, all those songs. I
Yeah.
didn't pay attention because I was listening to the music, very much like me, walking and singing. And I walked up a mountain, and my Sherpa lady, my person, my guide, lost me. So she ended up having to go up the mountain screaming my name to find me. And after that, I felt so bad that she went an extra like mile out of her way, because when you're dealing with 77 miles, every mile is a problem. You don't want to add to it. That I stopped listening to the music till the very last day. And the last day, I just played it. I just played the music, and it felt differently in my body. And it just felt like, the songs came, and, I still hear it. And when you, and I want to ask you, when you hear something that takes you back to a time that you were
Yeah.
just so happy, right? If you're
Yeah,
ever down and you just play that song in the morning, it takes
exactly.
you right back there, right back there. And
Yeah.
I have a friend of mine now who we're like chasing the oldies but goodies. So before they go, we can, like Stevie Nicks, we're going to see her in concert. And some of those songs were fantastic. We used to listen to them when we were kids. Even
Yeah.
now, still so good, still so good. Just love going to concerts and music. And music is my thing. It's my jam. I love it.
You love it. And well, and also writing has been your central, been central to your healing, right?
Yeah.
And how has the storytelling not only transformed you, but also become a way to guide others out of darkness?
That's a great, great question. And it's really seminal to all of us, how beautiful our stories can be through the darkness and the light. And once you believe that your story, who you are, that miracle that you came into this world to be, every bit of it is important to who you are at this time. And it's so important to who you will be in the next chapter and the next. Once you
Mhm.
embrace the narrative and you say, I'm writing this, you take control of the story, then your intuition plays a part. You start
Yeah.
to get like curious around the people who show up. I did a TED talk called Wake Up, and it was really about paying attention. I love Mary Oliver. She has a wonderful quote: living a conscious life, pay attention, be astonished, and tell all about it. And that just brings you into intention by seeing and being aware, right? We're aware of who shows up, stage left, stage right, Shakespeare, all the world's a stage. You're the protagonist. Who is coming onto your stage? It's a very
Exactly.
self-full experience because you start to be an actor with life rather than being acted upon. And that, when I figured that out, when I figured that I am screwed by my circumstances, or they're just the circumstances, how will I react to them,
Mhm.
changed the game for me. So taking control of the narrative, went back to appreciating your emotions, paying attention to how you feel, then getting that wonder component. We were talking about whimsy or bliss, that magical, like the pixie dust, being
Yeah.
astonished about even this conversation, or like, I don't know you, you're in Italy and I'm in Miami. That's pretty magical to me, this experience
Yeah.
I would
Yes,
never
of
have.
course.
It's so cool. And then, you be astonished, like, oh my gosh, I had this great, moment. And then telling everybody about it. Like even with HSA, like these
Yeah.
people that you meet in HSA, the experience that you have from all over the world, it doesn't stay with you when you share it with others and welcome them in to whatever party you want to be a part of, right? And I say a lot of times I'm around a lot of serious people who like see life seriously, but
Yeah.
I'm in my era of play. Like Taylor Swift has various eras, right? I'm in my era of play. Like, how can I play with my life today? And
Yeah.
and back to what you said, I tend to getting very negative. That's a set point for me. I know that, I go dark. I can be depressed very quickly, but I know that I'm aware of it. So when you're aware of something, then you can start to get curious and start to play around it. And I'm not, like I said, I don't hold anything, I don't take anything light because everybody has their own particular experience in this world. And
Mhm.
but I do know this to be true. When I need people, I know where to go. And when I need to be of service to people, I do that as well. It's the pay it forward experience, which has been life changing as well.
Meg, through S.H.I.N.E networking, you empower young leaders. What does shining means to you, and how can people discover and share their own light?
Well, first of all, if you come to my events and shine, everybody gets a tiara or a crown, okay? And the story
Yeah.
behind the tiara crown,
Just
first of
seeing
all,
you,
yes,
just seeing you for me, it's like shining.
yes.
You shine. It's beautiful. I love it.
But you know what? It's interesting. I do believe that enthusiasm is contagious, right?
Yes, yes,
And
of course.
and if anytime you're ever in a bad place and you know the sunshine people in your world, you go find them,
Yeah.
you will
Yeah.
you'll be kicked up a little bit. Maybe not feeling like, okay, everything's fine, but you will leave those people feeling like, okay, it's gonna be
Yeah.
okay. I don't know how it's gonna be okay. And we were talking about it. Venki. Venki is a person who is
Yes,
level
thank you.
of
Thank you.
liquid sunshine that he was just
Yeah.
blessed. He woke up on
Yes.
a sunshine
Always
day and he just
happy,
went with it,
always shining.
shining. And I think anyone who speaks about him, and if you hear him, his name, I'm sure everybody is like, oh, yes, yes, yes.
Yeah. Everybody knows him.
Everybody knows. Yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes. And that's a beautiful thing. It's,
Yes.
and I'm not saying he doesn't have his hardships, he doesn't have his
Yeah.
challenges, because he's an authentic person. You were talking about at the outset, authentically showing up in this world, right? At the same time, so the shine component, where people come together with curiosity, and I think young people who see that and are engaged in that, like for me, I have my daughter's 16 now, my son is 22. I feel like that audience and the
Mhm.
challenges they have in this world right now is
Yeah. Yeah.
very necessary to have them also be known players in their lives, that they have a say, that narrative component, that they are the narrators of their life. How can you inspire them and empower them? But also people who, so I have Shine ambassadors. So people, we raise the money and we basically name some of these people who are young innovative individuals who are making their way, but at that age you're always kind of insecure and you doubt yourself so much.
Yeah.
There's like such a
Yeah.
level of angst. The angst, I mean, we have
Yeah.
middle-aged angst, they have coming of age angst. Everybody has angst. It's just
Yeah.
life, right? Everybody has to
Yeah.
go through it. As long as you're alive, you can't, like I said, you can't escape the angst, the ups and the downs, the ebbs and the flows. Life just does it. But if somehow you can share the wisdom we've gained with that group, saying that of course this is what you're going through and it's going to serve you well. My mother said it. You're going through a hard time. I was bullied incessantly as a kid. She's like, I don't know why, but I'll tell you, it's going to serve you well because you're going to have empathy.
Yeah.
Once you get through this, and you'll get through this, you're going to
Mm.
have empathy for others. And that compassion and that empathy is what keeps us connected, to help each other, to engage each other from a place of love, like we were talking about before, rather than competition, collaboration, not competition. So, Shine is all about that, coming together so we can collaborate and then bring a younger group of society into and celebrate them. I usually always I give them a stage. Generally, it's going to be something with a Broadway musical behind it because that's my thing. But it's this year. My theme is Shine to Empower, which is really kind of exciting because I think in a lot of ways when we're dealing with the chaos of the world, we feel very powerless. So when we
Yeah.
start, and I know we talk about this in HSA when we you know act local, think global, act local, but act locally, then the ripple effect can go beyond your wildest imagination. You never know. You'll probably never know the impact of a kindness or a kind word or an act of love or service. But ultimately, at the end, you can be rest assured that you may never hear it from that person, but they know the impact of something good on their life will be an impact on another and another and another. And we can be the change we want to see. I believe
Yeah.
that.
Of course. Our community at the Happiness Studies Academy seeks to explore happiness in all its dimension. How do you see your work and message contributing to these larger conversations on well-being and meaning?
Oh, wow. Well, I really do believe my purpose in this world is to inspire others to wake up to the beauty of their own dreams and make it happen. I don't believe in the notion that something is impossible. I do believe action, inspired action will take us to the next step that we can build upon, and as long as we get that wonderful curious notion as to who can we play with today in the sandbox of life, then your beautiful dream can be matched with someone else's beautiful dream, or you tell someone this is your dream, and then they hear about something from somebody else and they bring it back to you or something, then it becomes this collaboration. And I think when we collaborate in life, how beautiful is that? How beautiful is that? It becomes, I will tell you, Lauda, I would say when I'm in a group of people and someone is being celebrated, someone did something so wonderful, I feel it's my celebration. Of course, it's
Yes,
my
of
celebration.
course.
I get to experience. And that's how the beauty of this interconnectedness of energies work. You know, a
Yes.
lot of people are jealous and envious. Oh, why do they always get that? But the reality is, oh my God, it's that much closer for you and yours. And
Yeah.
it's amazing. It's amazing that way. And, you know, interestingly enough, everything that has happened to me, I don't normally stand on a stage alone. It's never me alone. It's me, and I love this, standing on the shoulders of the giants that before me, the beauty
Yeah.
of like wisdom from your daughter Daniela, from my mother. She's right there with me. I mean, I
Yeah.
would never be alone in this life. They're all right there with me. And it's a beautiful thing to know that in those moments when we feel truly isolated or lonely, that we're really never alone.
Yes, that is so wonderful. I feel the same way as you do. You know, my daughter is with me all the time.
Oh,
My father,
yes,
everybody that I love, they are always around me, and we are never alone. We are never alone. We
so
are
beautiful.
always, surrounding of with love,
So beautiful.
and that
It's
is
so much
amazing.
about love. It's so much about love. I am a love ambassador. So I love button ambassador, and I met this gentleman. His name is Habib De Sadeghi out in
Hmm.
California. Who my back to music. My favorite band in the world is Coldplay, and I used
Ah,
to
my
listen.
too, my
Oh,
too.
well, this is very cool, and you'll appreciate this because back when I was going through my hardest time with my mom, losing my
Mhm.
mom, I used to listen to Yellow all the time. Like that's where I feel like she was singing to me the words in Yellow, right? Look at the
Oh my
stars, how they
God,
shine.
it's the same for us.
Beautiful.
We Daniela passed away in Houston, and then we were transferred to Midland, and we never forgot that music. That was
Wow.
when we left Houston and we were entering Midland in the US, and we were listening to that music. Even now, when we listen to the music, we look to each other with my husband and we hug and we cry, but it's something that it will always,
Wow.
be with me,
So
with us.
you understand. So I listened to, so when I finished my magical guide to bliss, I was, I have to send this to Chris Martin and the band to
Yeah.
let them know how important the music was for me when I went through this very challenging time. So I sent the book to him and this email, and the email went to Dr. Sadeghi, who is an incredibly wonderful man who had his own experience battling cancer, and the whole idea that love is going to heal all of us, that energy of love. So I connected with him and he invited me out to California. This is right before I left my job, to Chris Martin's house in Malibu.
Oh,
So I,
imagine.
yes, imagine. So I went to a private concert with Chris Martin playing as a fundraiser for Love Button with Dr. Sadeghi. And I've since become an ambassador. He gave me the love buttons for my Camino when I went to Spain, where I gave, which was the greatest thing in the world. Because imagine giving out buttons that say love to other people as you're suffering on a on this walk that I was like, why am I here? But then I would give everybody. They used to call me the Mariposa de Amor. They would, because
Ah, la mariposa de amor.
I
Sí.
wore a purple butterfly in my back in honor of my mom. And then I also walked for the kids in Parkland who had all passed away because of the gun violence down here in the February. So I had them all, and all the buttons were on my thing. I would give them out to everybody, and at the end, I put the butterfly on this. Well, I shouldn't tell the end of the story, but I will, because I ruin endings for everything. But I found, I think, what I was looking for, because remember I told you at the outset, when my mother passed away, I had seen a lighthouse. Well, the
Yes.
lighthouse was at the end of Camino in Finisterre, the lighthouse that I saw, and I went to talk about kind of the surreal, existential, we find
Mhm.
meaning where we find meaning. Well, I found the lighthouse, and on this pole, it says, "May peace prevail on earth." So I
Oh,
put the butterfly on top, and I think that's what my mother wanted me to know, is that she's okay and that I needed to find peace in my own
yes.
world. So back to Chris Martin and Love Button. So I've been an ambassador with them for years now. And yes,
Yeah.
and it's been one of the most beautiful experiences that I've had. And I was able to tell Chris Martin thank you in person for the
Yeah,
memoir.
that's amazing. Meg, the HSA brings together people from across the world.
Yes.
If you could leave them, this is our last question.
Aw.
If you could leave them with one key insight about living fully and authentically, what would it be?
Oh, wow. That one thing for me would be, life isn't just about feeling good, it's about flourishing. And my work, my passion, my purpose, the writing, the coaching, the speaking, everything has always been about how can I flourish more and become more the most authentic version of myself and feel so good in my skin, making the mistakes grandly or
Yeah.
wonderfully, and celebrating when I with others their successes as well as my own. I think that, mindfulness, mind, body, spirit, that whole wonderful trifecta, I think that the conversation is all about how do we heal ourselves too, so that, when we're out in the world, we are the light that we've been waiting for, and we can be the light for others to show them a better way.
Amazing. Thank you, Meg. Thank you. Thank you for sharing your journey, your wisdom, and your light with us today. Your story reminds us that transformation often begins in the darkest places, and that through resilience, love, and purpose, we can all awaken to a more meaningful life. And at the Happiness Study Academy, Entre, Nous, it's about celebrating authentic voices like yours, voices that inspire us to live with courage, vulnerability, and joy. And on behalf of our global community, it has been an honor to have you with us. Thank you. Thank you very much, Megan.
No, thank you. The honor is mine. Thank you so much.
Thank